Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Real Life, the podcast. You're listening to 5 Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. Today, I want to talk on the topic, mastering the art of self-defense, strategies for dealing with your enemies. Have you ever been accused of something that you didn't do, but you still had to defend yourself? I don't know if you watch the crime shows on TV, but innocence is not a predictor of victory. A lot of innocent people are incarcerated for crimes they did not commit. Your enemies are always plotting against you. So today, I want to share with you strategies for defending yourself against your enemies, or even defending yourself against people that are accusing you in your family or your friends. People get accused all the time with no evidence. So, in a world where conflicts and confrontations are inevitable, knowing how to defend yourself against enemies is a valuable skill. Whether you're facing personal adversaries or professional rivals, having effective strategies in place can help you navigate challenging situations with confidence and composure. Now, I took this episode from the Bible. I was reading the Gospel of Acts, and I came across this story of Paul while he was preaching the gospel of Jesus. The Jews wanted to kill him, and they wanted to kill him for several reasons. Number one, he was preaching that the man they killed, Jesus, that God raised him from the dead. And of course, they wanted to have none of that. And number two, they were even more annoyed that he was preaching that God loved both the Jews and the Gentiles. Of course, they felt that they were a superior race and that the Gentiles were nobody and they were trash, and that how dare Paul says that the Gentiles were equal with them and that God loved them both. So they plot to kill him. But first, you can't just go stoning people. You've got to take them to court. So they had Paul arrested. And Paul was sent to several courts pleading his case. And finally, he said, hey, I want to talk to Caesar. Take me to, in the U.S. and say, I'm going to take this to the Supreme Court, the highest court. So he said, I want to talk to Caesar. So this is where I am going to borrow from Paul's strategies to help you learn how to defend yourself against your enemies. Number one is understand your enemy. One of the first things I noticed in this scripture was that Paul understood his audience and thus his enemies. In Acts 23, we see Paul speaking to both the beliefs of the Sadducees and the Pharisees. He knew they had different beliefs, and it was crucial to understand the nature of your enemies. So identify their motives, their strengths, and their weaknesses. And this knowledge will inform your approach and enable you to anticipate their actions, giving you strategic advantage in any situation. Right? He knew that, or Paul knew, I should say, that they had two different people trying to judge him. And if he was going to have a defense, then he had to speak to both of their beliefs. So in his, opening statement, as we want to call it, he talked about the belief of not believing in reincarnation. And then to the other one, he talked about their beliefs. So that is, and then he had them both argue with each other because that's brutal. That's beautiful, right? When lawyers can do that. Confuse the jurors, confuse the judge by speaking directly to them. The second thing is always maintain your composure. Don't let them see you sweat. When confronted by your enemy, maintaining composure is key. It is very easy to get angry, especially if you're being falsely accused. Avoid reacting impulsively or emotionally. as this can escalate the situation and weaken your position. Instead, stay calm, composed, and focused on the objective. And what is the objective? Being free, right? Winning. That's the objective. Not to get angry and not to respond or people calling you names or falsely accusing you. Maintain your composure. Take deep breaths. Center yourself and respond thoughtfully rather than reactively. Paul is kept in jail for years and he never became angry. He knew that his defense was going to take time. People's beliefs are hard to change, right? Number 3, set boundaries. Establishing clear boundaries is essential for defending yourself against your enemies. Clearly communicate your limits and expectations and assertively enforce them when necessary. By setting boundaries, you signal to your enemies that you will not tolerate disrespect or an infringement on your rights. I love the way Paul set his boundaries. When you try to whip him like they did Jesus, he boldly told them that he was a Roman citizen and it was illegal to whip him without a trial. They thought that because they did that to Jesus, they can do that to him. And he put his foot down, set boundaries, and of course they couldn't whip him. They didn't know he was a Roman citizen. You pull out whatever is in your back pocket and let them know that you will have none of it. Number 4, assertive communication. Effective communication is a powerful tool in your self-defense. Be assertive in expressing your thoughts, feelings, and boundaries to your enemies. Use I statements to convey your perspective without attacking or blaming them. Additionally, practice active listening to understand their viewpoint and identify potential points of compromise or resolution. Paul was a master communicator. He was able to present his case so well that in the end, the high priest could find no fault with it. They wanted to release him. But of course, the Pharisees and the Sadducees would have none of it. But he convinced the judge, right? That's what you need to do. Effective communication. Number 5, got to know the law. This is something my husband being who used to be a cop talks about all the time. Know the laws. Don't let these policemen come up on you and tell you all these different things like get out of your car. They need to search your car. They don't have any reason to search your car without probable cause. They got to see something before they tell you that they want to search your car, right? So know the laws, right? It's up to you to know the laws regarding your case. Whether you're defending yourself in a court of law, at work, with your homeowners association, know the law, know your rights, know the policies of your workplace as written in the employee manual. They would always try to jack you up. But if it's not written, then they can't punish you for it. Paul knew the laws of the Jews and the laws of the court. And he knew that as a Roman citizen, he must be offered a trial. And he told them, hey, I study your laws as a child, so I've known them for a long time. Praise doesn't hurt, right? Praise the judge, praise the jurors, praise the defending lawyer. Praise people because it fills their head up. Start off with praise for the person hearing the case. I was just reading that praise expands any relationship. Everyone loves to be praised. And I'm not talking with flattery because flattery is not authentic praise and people can see through it. Paul always started off his defense with praise for the judge. In Acts 23, he said to Judge Felix, I know you have been a great judge for years. In Acts 26, he said to the King Agrippa, I am fortunate that you are the one here in my defense today because I know that you are an expert in Jewish customs and controversies. If Paul knew this in his day and time, then in the age of the internet, you should do the same. No reason for you not to know about the people that are trying you, about the laws, about the judge, about all the cases that he's tried before. Know what his strengths, know what his weaknesses, know where he leans to, right? No, it's all a click away on Google, right? Build a support network is one of the things that you should do. Surround yourself with supportive network of friends, families, and allies who can offer guidance, encouragement, and protection. Having a strong support system can bolster your confidence and resilience in the face of adversity. Lean on trusted individuals for advice and assistance when dealing with your enemies. Stay vigilant. Stay vigilant and attentive to potential threats from your enemies. Monitor their behavior and actions, and be prepared to respond swiftly and decisively if they pose a risk to your safety or well-being. Trust your instincts and take proactive measures to safeguard yourself against potential harm. These guys are trying to take you out, so you've got to be vigilant. Faith, faith can move mountains. One of the best parts of Paul's story was his unwavering faith in God. He knew that God was his protector, and he wasn't afraid to die if he had to. But he knew that God was going to get him out, right? He knew that he had a purpose. He knows that he had a destiny. And he knew that for however long it took, he was going to win and he was going to get out, right? On the way to Rome, the ship carrying 276 men were shipwrecked on an island. And Paul was on an island for but a few hours when a poisonous snake bit him on the hand. The people on the island saw the snake hanging off of Paul's hand and surmised that he was a murderer who had gotten his comeuppance. You love that word, right? I got it from the mummy. They waited for him to swell up and die, but nothing happened, so they decided that he was a god. The inspirational message of the story is that your enemies might try to bite you, but you don't have to worry. Just like the snake's poison did nothing to Paul, your enemies can't hurt you. Just shake them off and keep it moving. So, in conclusion, defending yourself against your enemies requires a combination of strategic thinking, assertive communication, and faith that God reigns in victory, and you will have the victory. By understanding your adversaries, maintaining your composure, setting boundaries, leveraging your support network, you can effectively protect yourself and navigate conflicts with confidence and grace. Remember, self-defense is not about seeking revenge or escalating conflicts, but about asserting your rights, preserving your integrity, and safeguarding your well-being in any situation. Yes, they got to work harder to take you out, right? You're going to defend yourself and you're going to win because you're going to know the law and you're going to know your rights. And then these are some strategies to put it all together. All right. So listen, I hope you were inspired today. I hope you don't have to deal with enemies. I hope you don't have to deal with being falsely accused. But it's not when it happens or if it happens, it's when it happens. So be prepared. And this is a strategy. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of 5 Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. If you're watching this on YouTube, would love for you to hit the subscribe button and maybe leave a comment. If you're watching this or if you're listening to this on iTunes, we'd love for you to, review the show. If you're getting something out of it, review the show, give a comment. It helps to get the show to a wider audience and also encourages me. So hope you will do it. Thanks again for tuning in. And until next time, namaste.